Hi, this is John from Bear Bull Traders, and I want to discuss my best and worst trade for 18 June 2021. As always, if you can like this video, subscribe to this channel, or hit that alert bell, we really appreciate it. My worst trade today was a rule break and example of indiscipline on Tesla. So this was a high day break trade where the high day was 619.63. Volume at entry was 3 million shares, and the RVOL was about 100%. And I let an old demon get in my way here and affect my trading. That demon is moving my stop or not obeying my original stop. I was biased, I'll admit it, on Tesla having a good day today. And I really thought the day was really going to break away from 600. And it was doing that at the open. So it made a nice move to high day against the SPY. So strong open, pull back, a little choppy. But bounced off its previous close, then made this nice move up to the high day through the pre-market high toward yesterday's high, which is a great way to break out. You know, staying green, breaking out from pre-market high, which is a great breakout area, and then aiming for yesterday's high. All these things had me very biased on Tesla getting up to this level. The 1 minute volume was stepping up. We had 3 white steps, a little tough to see here, but as I entered, or just before I entered, it was looking good. At entry, the SPY was sort of chopping in neutral, so not especially concerning. Now we're about 16, 17 minutes after the open, so you need to start to be concerned about what the SPY is doing, but it didn't seem to be hurting the enthusiasm of this upward movement. The candle previous to my entry had a high day of 620.40, which is higher than 619.63. If the high, I don't count the high on a previous 1 minute candle as being the high that I'm actually trading against, but interesting that 620 had already been broken. Sold off and then went back to re-break it. So I thought it was going to get going from there. So I took an entry at 620.27, and the volume actually died off my entry candle. If you see this red bar here, this candle did not hold. And so I'm entering on lesser volume than it had been building up previously. And that's a really bad sign. I should have paid attention to that. I'll admit, I got actually very angry because the SPY dumped, and I thought that's what was killing this trade. Partially, it probably was. I don't know to what extent this was the fault of the SPY. But after this stock became very SPY locked. All this independent behavior was now gone, and I refused to admit that was the case. And as it kept punching up into the green, I thought, you know, we'd get this thing going. And I waited for it to recover at various levels like people do. Oh, it'll save itself at the pre-market high. It'll save itself at the previous close. It'll save itself at VWAP. And down here at VWAP, right around 616.27 specifically, I'm at a 1 hour loss. So you can see I'm letting it dip below 1 hour and hoping that it's going to catch itself. And hope is the word here that you can't trust in trading. And it fought around that negative 1 hour level for a while, and then it was losing it. And I had to admit it. And I took about a 1.5 hour loss on this trade, 1.5, 1.6. So not a great way to trade on a Friday. My best trade was on Wish. This was another high day break trade where the high day was 1132. Volume at entry was 18 million shares, and the RVOL was 110%. If you know, Wish has kind of been in play lately. It's sort of a meme stock. Trader Santosh called this out in the Bear Bull Traders room, so shout out to Trader Santosh. Thank you very much. I saw it had hung up at the previous day's close, and then it was making a move to the high day. So this black dotted line is the previous day's close, and you can see as it came up to that on good volume here, not surprisingly, it fought with that level. It's such a common place for price to pause and think about whether it's going to go higher or not. And the SPY was in my direction, which is nice. I don't know how much it matters on a stock like Wish. I mean, this is not quite as meme-ish as AMC or BlackBerry, but it's in the category. So nice to have the market moving in my direction anyway. The 1 minute volume at entry was almost twice as high as the opening bar. This is huge. So this bar that I entered on was almost twice as high as the opening 1 minute bar for the day, which would have been about the height of this bar here. So that's great. You can see volume flooding in. It's higher than any point during the day. We're going up to that pre-market high that I talked about for Tesla. It is a great breakout area. It doesn't always work, but it often does. And I like this. So I took an entry at 1131, and the next volume bar was huge. This bar is about 3 times as high as the opening bar. And when that happens, you just got to ride it. So my first 50% partial was at 1147, near the $0.50 level of 1150. That's me trading the way I trade more expensive stocks, like, oh, $0.50 levels are what matter and dollar levels. But given the height of this volume, I kind of think I should have let it go a bit more. Let it break the yesterday's high, which is this green dotted line, which is actually right at 1150. I mean, it makes sense to partial here, but given the volume, I probably should have let it pop over and see what I could have gotten out of that, because obviously it kept going. Second 50% partial near R4 at 1165. You can see R4 here was at 1166. I think that was a pretty good one. I mean, it did pop over it, but you know, you do have a sell-off here, which could have been affected by that Camarilla pivot. Third 50% partial near $12 at 1192. This was a great partial. So try not to get too greedy. You know, obviously I'd love to get up at 1199, but anything above 1190 seemed pretty good. So took some off there. And then I let it play out. A battle set up between around 1190, 1180, and R4. And I wanted to see if we could break 12. And if we could break 12, I wanted to get the top of the pop above $12, which could have been 5 cents. It could have been 10, 15, maybe as much as 20. Turned out to be closer to 5. So I took 50% off at 1206. And then I set my stop at 1154, which is kind of just below this area of support here, and got all out at 1151. So bad way to start my day, but this trade made up for it, and this one felt good. So thank you for watching. If you want, drop a comment below so we can discuss these trades, and everybody have an awesome weekend. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.